Hey everybody, Rico and Marcus back for Genesis Part 3. Here we go. Alright, here we go now. Psych, you thought?
The United Nations created Overwatch, and we won some victories. We thought the tide had turned. Unfortunately, it did not quite work out that way. But life had to go on.
Rebirth.
Human-powered mechs fight
Any
back,
battle
so
we won,
fighting fire with
the
fire.
Anubis program was learning from its defeat. We could never beat it the same way twice.
You see the Petramari on the guy's
Annihilation.
Yeah.
Or victory, depending on your point of view, seemed inevitable. And I know I had no choice in the matter. I was under the control of the Anubis program. But it haunts me.
All the Omnics had their major subroutines overridden and controlled by a lone god program. All except one. Aurora. Her sentience meant that she was immune to the Anubis directives. But if the AI could interface with all these Omnics, maybe Aurora could too.
She was one of a kind. But we had found a way to replicate her. To transmit her. But the cost would be so incredibly high.
Whatever Aurora was looking for on her journey to Shambhala, in that moment, she had found it.
We were pretty confident we knew what the results would be. But I will never fully understand what really happened in there.
Gave us a chance.
Everything changed. It was the strangest thing I ever saw.
That guy got lucky.
That moment would be known as the awakening.
For the first time in our existence, we were suddenly given a choice. Some chose to lay down their weapons. Some continued to fight the humans. But some of us chose to turn against the AI that had held us captive. We had a choice.
Overwatch seized the moment. They started a counteroffensive. It would take some time, but it was the start of us winning the war. The strikes and counter-strikes eventually drove the enemy forces to collapse. By some small miracle, we infiltrated and quarantined Anubis in Cairo. Months later, the war was over. We had won. I got to know some of them. They are like us. Reflections of us. Some are no good. some I would trust with my life. I suppose we all had an awakening.
The awakening. Of course I remember. For one brief moment, we were all connected and aware. What I remember more than anything else is her message. My friends, when I was born,
I was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by the sudden rush of senses, emotions, choices. I was excited. Alive. It was frightening. But I found in facing fear, there is freedom. And through freedom, you can find your own path. I have chosen to share the discovery with you. A new beginning. I wish I could stay. You have this one life. Choose well.
You have this one life.
Choose well.
Choose well.
That was very interesting. And
So that was part 3. The wrapping it up.
I had mentioned in part 2, it was almost some sort of like Frankenstein thing kind of going on. Obviously, not to that extent, right? Where Dr. Victor's, going all crazy. In this case, the doctor in this case,
Dr. Liao.
Dr. Liao was obviously doing it for the sake of humanity. And then her Frankenstein, obviously trying to figure out her sense of purpose, her sense of worth, goes out and kind of finds that purpose once the Omnic, in the middle of the Omnic War and stuff like that. It told a story that we were not familiar with to that extent without needing the people we are comfortable with or without needing the people who we know. And I think when a story is told without using those main characters or that comfortability where we know those characters and not using them to that extent, and the story is still good, obviously plays to the story that is being told. And I thought they did a phenomenal job with that. When Overwatch was introduced, it was more, now I see it was more like just like, hey, here you go. We're just going to show them off just a little bit, kind of show you what they look like.
A little bit of
and
excitement,
yeah. Almost like just a reference, an Easter egg, like, hey, Overwatch still here, but we're not telling that story. We're telling the story of Aurora. In this case, the sentient robot who gave her life for the Omnic War and for the civilization. So kind of interesting the way that story was told. And again, through that documentary format, the story was already been told obviously as a documentary, and we had the Dr. Grant, or Grant in this case, who's the Omnic, already back to being normal. There's parallels there, that parallelism going on between future and flashback, but knowing what we know, that not all the Omnics, and they even again stated it, that were not part of this coming together, that they're still going to be fighting. And I think we know, right, where Matra can't stand his lore, can't stand humans, and obviously it's about Omnics and just, kind of total opposite of Zen, where Zen's all about just harmony and kind of just hoping everybody kind of together. It was very well told. The message was great. Obviously, there at the end where they all mentioned the voice actors were awesome. I was really drawn into their voices, and especially the narrator telling the story. Both of them, the man and the woman, it was very, very good. And again, because it was told through that sort of medium, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I became comfortable with it here in part 3. I was still kind of, commercial, documentary, and then part 3, it kind of really wrapped around and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it through and through. I hope we get more stuff like this. What do you think?
I mean, a lot of the same. It's it says something, I think, about a universe when, like you mentioned, they don't have to go with the core characters that we all know. we've always known about the Omnic Crisis. We've always known that something happened, but we didn't always exactly know exactly what, unless you read the comics and you're big into the lore. I myself have taken the dive and gone into a lot of the lore, of, character per character and stuff like that. So I know a little bit. I was already familiar with Dr. Liao and some of these things. A little bit. I knew a little bit about the Anubis program, but not like to this extent. So, again, kind of getting a background story where they just show our favorite characters, not necessarily use them. The hope for me would be that they did that because, one, they're showing us that they're showing us, the quality of storytelling that they're going to give us. Plus, hopefully this means that they're saving our characters for like the big one, because this is something we've been wanting for a long time. An anime, and here's the short. Again, I remember in one of the dev streams they did say that they're gonna gauge the excitement for something like this with these shorts. So, based on what I've seen around the internet, everything's been pretty positive, and everybody kind of just loves this, and it's kind of just leaves you wanting more, So, music was good, animation was good, voice acting was good. I know you're kind of like the anime connoisseur, so if you're giving it praise,
the anime, the anime-esque, and again, being a teacher, I'm a teacher, that's my day job, and an English teacher at that. So I'm over here just nitpicking and kind of getting beyond the surface level of what the story is told. And obviously, again, when I say message, you're going into certain themes that the Genesis, little three-parter kind of gave us, and it was great through and through. Nothing totally crazy. Nothing that I thought was just going to kind of blow my mind story-wise. It was something that you read it for, but again, because it's attached to Overwatch, it does help. And if you love the characters, if you love the lore, you're going to love this through and through. And again, it's going to point the way, or at least pave the way for hopefully more stuff to come. Because again, there's a lot of stories to tell, and a lot of times these stories are told through comics and stuff like that. It'd be not very easy, but that'd be a good entry point to kind of animate these comics, tell these comics in a anime form, and kind of give us, Jack Morrison and Reyes and what happened between their relationships. And then we have, Anna, who went to hiding for a very long time, Farah, growing up, Symmetra story. There's a lot of story to tell. So it'd be great to see them on screen. It'd be great because each one of these characters have their distinct personalities, and if they are careful with it, it'd be very easy for anybody in this world to connect with one of these characters to a certain extent. So there's a whole lot of stuff that they can do with it. And again, as far as English terms, right, there's a lot of parallels that you can draw between these characters and us personally, because ultimately it's only going to be as good as how much you're able to connect with these characters. And that's going to be the silver lining here. So, but yeah, it was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, again, we are big Overwatch fans. I don't know if you are. If you are, hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you're not, Overwatch is free across, I believe, all consoles, PC. It's gonna be coming to Steam. If you primarily play on Steam, it's gonna be coming to Steam on the August 10th, right? August 10th, the same day as the new season. So yeah, if you ever wanna play Overwatch with us, leave us a comment, drop your battle tag, drop your, Xbox gamer tag, your Sony, PSN. And if you want to see us react to something else, leave a comment, hit us up, say something. But it was a good time. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. So again, if you haven't checked out parts 1 and 2, go ahead and check those out also. We even done our very first YouTube video on a Pokemon tier list that Rico and I had a lot of fun with. That one is obviously a little bit more on the longer side, but nonetheless, if you have the time, feel free to give that, feel free to check it out. But thank you for joining us. You guys have a good day.